Nobody in the history of the universe has answered this question with the letter A. For the rest of your life, you can only eat food from one of these regions. Which one do you choose? In the A category, you have a majority of France, all of the UK, Ireland, a part of Norway, Iceland, and Greenland. Also, Nunavut province in Canada. You know what? To be fair, like a part of A does have a little bit of Italian territory. That's something. Also, you know, waffles from Belgium? Not bad either. Now, am I choosing A though? That's a different question. Hell no. I'm not picking A. A's not that bad, but I'm not picking A. I'd rather commit seppuku. Which, speaking of seppuku, I actually really like D. Look at D. So you get all Indian food, you get a lot of Saudi Arabian food, and Turkish food, but the big thing, at least for me, you get Chinese food, Japanese food, South Korean food, Thai food. I don't really know what they got going on here in Australia and New Zealand, but, you know, I'll eat a koala bear or something. D looks good to me. I think it has a wide variety, at least if you're from the US or Europe and you still like international food. I think D's a great option. You even get boba with Taiwan. Now, I'm biased because I live in G, but I also really like G. The big one here being Mexican food, also that southern barbecue. Love me, like southern United States of American food. It's so bad for you. It literally shaves years off my life, but I will eat that shit up. You got a couple of sweet options with like Cuba and Colombia. This is not the same as Mexican food. It's gonna be a lot sweeter on the sweeter side of things, but still, I can definitely see one to argue that B is as worse as A, but B has like a lot of Italy. If you like pizza, well, this is gonna work out. Also, I really wish this graph was focused around Italy. Generally speaking, I feel like Italian food is among the most popular in the entire world. We should give everyone a little piece of the pizza. But besides Italy for B, man, what else do you got? Now, it could just be my ignorance that is speaking. Maybe Polish food. There's some good Polish food. You're gonna have bratwurst and pretzels from like Germany and Austria. Don't love H. I mean, I guess you're gonna get like New York style pizza, also Chicago pizza if that's a thing for you. You're gonna get, what's that poutine thing they eat in Quebec? I don't like Spanish food. I'm not a big fan of Portuguese food either. Again, I'm pleading the ignorance for E. I don't know what they be eating in Africa. And C looks like they have a lot of territory, but one of those territories is North Korea, and they don't have food in North Korea. So this is actually pretty simple for me. It's either G or D. Those are the only two options, and honestly, I'll probably pick D at this moment in my life, just because I'd rather take the diversity. I've been really liking a lot of Indian food recently, Chinese food, Thai food. Oh, I love Vietnamese food. I mean, the Philippines is kind of hidden behind the D, but Filipino food, D's gonna give me the most variety, personally. Me being from A, at least a bit of Italy is in it, lol. Of course, one of the top comments is the two choices I came up with. D and G look pretty good. Yep. And yeah, I think I can confirm a majority of people here are agreeing with me. Almost 3,000 people say easiest D of my life. Wait, what? I would take D over literally every other one combined. Wow. I mean, to be fair, I haven't tried a lot of these places' cuisine, but I think I agree. I think you could combine everything, and I would still pick D. I'm really gonna miss Mexican food, though, in G. Yeah, now everyone's just breaking down why D is definitely the answer here, not even a question. If there's a separate letter for Antarctica, I would choose that. Just give me penguins all day to roast. Completely unsurprisingly, Egypt is the most popular plushie out of this entire campaign. I'm a little surprised that Somalia is beating out Botswana in terms of pure number of plushies sold so far. I wasn't sure which one was going to win out of these two, but yeah, how could you beat Egypt? Egypt is one of the most popular travel destinations, obviously because of the pyramid here. Now, there's a couple more days to get these if you're interested. There's a link in the description down below to makeship.com. Reserve yours today because these are very close to being gone forever. I'm going to start dropping hints next week to the next 3 countries, and I'm really excited for those ones. I've never seen anyone make them before. So I already know this one's going to cause a massive war in the comment section. If you can only choose one of these colors to live in for your entire life, where are you choosing? I live in California, but we are grouped up with Arizona, New Mexico, as well as Texas. Oh, and we get Hawaii. I'll be honest, if you asked me this question maybe 10 years ago, I would definitely say red. That's just what I know, but I will not be picking red here. I just cannot see myself personally living in California for the rest of my life. Like, I'm probably going to leave eventually. And I'm not a very big fan of Texas. I've been forced to go to Texas because I've got so much family here for my entire life. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go back here anymore. Now, in the orange, you have states like Nevada, Utah, Colorado. So I'm thinking like Vegas and Salt Lake City. You do have Oklahoma. Yeah, what's there to say about Oklahoma? You got my birth state of Alabama. You got Mississippi. You got Louisiana. You got Arkansas. You got Georgia. But the big one, they do got Florida. Not gonna lie, I like orange. I like Las Vegas. You also have Atlanta here in Georgia, and then I love Florida. So orange is looking doing pretty good. In yellow, you have the Cascadian states like Washington and Oregon. You also have Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky for some KFC, and then both Carolinas. Meh. I feel whatever about that one. Oh, also Alaska, if you like Alaska. This is kind of a dumb thing. I feel like this is just going to come down to, like, where do you currently live? And most people are going to just pick where they currently live right now. But the fact that it's divided up horizontally like this, it's kind of horizontal, it's kind of vertical, that should throw some people off. In green, we got Montana, South Dakota, Iowa, we got Illinois, so I'm thinking Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, it's all Ohio, West Virginia, and Virginia. I'm good, not doing that one. Blue is most of the northern part of the Midwest, so North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland. Oh, you also get DC. Just gonna be honest, it's coming down to purple or orange for me. I like the Northeast. I like New York. I like Boston. You have Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island. It's just a fun place, and you got everything. You got trains that'll take you around everywhere. Nice subway systems. It's kind of tough. It's purple or orange. I don't know. To be honest, I know the purple part better than the orange, so I feel safer picking purple. If the particular spot is random, then purple. That's a good point. We don't know like what state you're gonna get dropped off in, but if it's a region that I get to choose, in what color? Probably blue. Blue? What? Where? Even if you get to choose where you want to live in blue, what? I'm gonna go to Detroit or what? White is basically anything that's not in the USA. It seems like purple is the top comment overall, this getting over 1,000 up doodle-doos, and I'm really not seeing a whole lot of reds. And I know, California and Texas are the top two states. Does everyone... Oh, here's finally a red. Although you can keep Texas, the Southwest, and the Pacific Coast are glorious for nature lovers. Yeah, this is a lot more divided. Red, not even close. But I'm very curious, even if you aren't living from the U.S., where you would choose. Everyone needs to know this, especially for that last one, but just in general, if you live in these states, you need to know this. How many spouses must attend for a marriage to be valid? What the f do you mean? Why isn't everything in green here? Now, luckily, most of the United States is in green, but there's a couple of outliers. In Colorado, Kansas, and in Texas, you only need one member of the marriage to be present. At least one must be present. What the f? How does that even work? That seems sketchy as hell. So I can basically marry Sydney Sweeney then. She doesn't gotta even consent. Oh, I need to be careful saying those words around here, but how does she give her own consent to be wedded to me? I'm guessing you still gotta sign the documents and do all the legal hula hoops and things like that, but you don't gotta be present at the actual marriage? I have a feeling this probably has something to do with the military, perhaps. Maybe if you're a soldier overseas, then it helps, obviously, if you know your significant other, your girlfriend, can get married while you're out deployed. One of the only things I can really think of for some of these yellow states. Then there's Montana, where neither needs to be present. Both can be absent. Montana, this just feels like you're trolling now. What does this even mean, Montana? How do you have a marriage without both spouses? Is that, you know what, I bet you there's some culture in the world that celebrates marriage like that, where the actual two people getting married aren't actually there. Maybe they're at their honeymoon, but the families come together. I don't know why. I have a feeling that there's got to be one culture that does that. There's all sorts of wild cultural traditions around the world. Oh, so a lot of this is coming down to common law marriages, where both parties do not need to be physically present at the time for the marriage to be established. Is that what this is all about? It's time to finally look this thing up. A common law marriage is a legally recognized union that does not require a marriage license or a formal ceremony, formed when a couple lives together and presents themselves to the public as married couple. I'll be honest, I don't like this. I do not like this. What do you mean I'm married if I never got married? What the f is that? I'm still very confused about this, because on some accounts I see it requires mutual agreement to be married, but must be present as a marriage. I don't know. I need to figure out exactly why. What was going on where they had to make this a thing? So the Montana situation is known as a double proxy marriage. This unusual agreement allows stand-ins to legally take vows on behalf of the couples. What the heck? But yeah, we are talking mostly soldiers. That's where a lot of these weird outliers come in. Apparently there was news stories of a foreign gay couple getting married in Utah virtually. Oh, they were from China. At least 200 Chinese couples have married in Utah, which has no resident requirements for marriage licenses and allows international Zoom weddings. Wow, the future is getting crazy. Dang. Look at them getting married right here. He's watching over the whole thing. I can see how this can be useful for passport bros or passport ladies. I was gonna say passport. Not requiring your significant other to be there if they're from a different country. So I, as a white man, am going to try to explain the Asian voter shift. This should be fun. We're talking the differences between Asian Americans that voted for Biden in 2020 compared to Kamala Harris in 2024. Obviously, Biden beats Donald Trump in 2020, and then Kamala Harris does not beat Donald Trump in 2024. And the biggest shift is actually coming from Chinese Americans, who in 2020, 74% of them voted for Biden, only 65% of them voted for Harris. I'll be honest, I can't really explain that one. However, typically speaking, you do notice a pretty clear theme when an immigrant is coming from a communist country. They tend to lean a lot more conservative. Chinese Americans being a pretty big outlier in that, though, because China's only been a communist country for like 76 years. And a lot of those Chinese immigrants could have definitely come way before that. Chinese immigration to America literally started in 1815, and it just continued a lot throughout the 19th century. That's why so many different American cities have a massive Chinatown. Indians voted for Biden at 70%, but only 63% for Harris. That's surprising because isn't Kamala Harris South Asian? Japanese Americans literally barely moved. They're one of the only. They did move down 1%, but that's negligible. Something to definitely keep in mind is just because they aren't voting for Harris when they voted for Biden doesn't necessarily mean that all these votes went to Trump. Sometimes they might just not have voted. They also could have voted third party. However, I think if I remember correctly, Trump did like record-breaking numbers with all of these immigrant groups. I'm a little surprised that Koreans voted for Biden with 67%. That seems pretty high. I'm surprised it didn't go down further. All the Koreans I know, extremely conservative. They came from South Korea, but they still escaped communism. They're also religious. I can't explain Pakistan. They dropped by 10%. Again, Harris, South Asian. Oh, is it because Harris is Indian? That would make sense why the Pakistanis wouldn't support her. Yeah, she's half Indian. You know what? That complete checks out. I'm surprised that that Pakistani support wasn't literally at zero. There's Filipinos who voted for Biden at 65%, now down to 59% for Kamala. I can't explain that one. The Vietnamese, though, I can explain this one. I live in a very big, or at least I used to live in a very big Vietnamese community in the Southern California. All of Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, they are extremely conservative. And if you know their history, bro, can you blame them? Especially the Cambodians, bro. Look up a guy named Pol Pot. It's surprising that literally any Cambodian votes for a Democrat ever. My congressperson in Orange County used to be a Republican woman from Vietnam that immigrated like years ago. So there you go. That tells you a lot. I can provide more context on the Indian communities. There was heavy propaganda towards Indian Americans, especially from their friends and family back home. Many in India believed that Trump would be better and would leave the country alone. A lot of this included pressure on families that they support India. Okay. Oh, here's an interesting point. All the big pushes to restrict education for high-performing students. I forgot about that one. Yeah, Asian people get disproportionately discriminated against in college admissions. That definitely could be a factor. So where are all the dumb states at? I can say that, I think, because I also don't have my bachelor's degree. The portion of adults with a bachelor's degree or higher. I never got my bachelor's degree. I got some college, but I dropped out 2 times, so I'm definitely not a part of this. California, 36.5%. I feel like I need to say this since I started this off so crazy. College does not define intelligence. In fact, I don't know. I'm biased. Maybe I won't say anything. I've noticed the opposite sometimes. Sadly, people are going to look at this map, though, and come to that conclusion that, oh, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, they must be the dumb states. Certainly, a factor has got to be that people go to the Northeast. I also call this literally the education corridor. Have you seen, like, obviously the Ivy League schools, but just really prestigious schools that come out of this part of America. But people move there to go to school, and then they just never leave. They could be from some of these other states instead. This also happens to be where a lot of high-paying jobs are. So once you get out of college, you get a job, and then bam, you just stay there. That could definitely be affecting some of these percentages. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's got to be a major factor. What's interesting is why is Colorado the massive outlier here, at least out in the West? 44%, they're destroying everyone, including California, including Texas. What big college is in Denver? Yeah, it's not just University of Colorado and Colorado State. They don't have like a Stanford or something. Can't explain why Colorado's just killing it right here. They're actually, I think they're number 1 on the list. No, they almost are number 1 on the list, only being beat out by Massachusetts, which if you know anything about Massachusetts, that's literally just a massive college state with Harvard there, with MIT, with even Boston College. Boston is literally just a massive student city, I'm noticing. Oh, DC is technically number 1, though, because DC is just a small city. And to become a politician, you probably need to go to college, but not required. I just want to know where this is going to go in the future, because we are seeing less people apply for college especially out of young men, especially as AI continues to take off. Will we see more people go into the trades? We're also just supposed to expect generally less younger people because people they stopped having kids a while ago. And here's that same breakdown except by county. So I'm now just remembering that you got to break down the highest populated states like California, Texas, and Florida. You got to consider they've just got a lot of people in it, and the more people that don't have degrees, it's going to really drag the average down. If they just polled, obviously, the Texas Triangle, which is between Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and the big one here is Austin with UT, they're going to have, obviously, very high rates of bachelor degrees. Florida has a ton of schools. I'm not surprised at all to see NorCal have higher rates of bachelor degrees than Southern California. That totally makes sense. That's where all the good schools are at. Also, people move there to get tech jobs. This comment highlights how this person grew up in Arkansas, went to college in Arkansas, and the first thing they did once they got their degree is move to Maryland. So that's something to keep in mind. Wyoming exports kids, many after getting a degree. A lot of those end up front range of Colorado. Yeah, so again, people moving around the states, you got to keep that in mind. I mean, it's kind of more just like where are the high-paying jobs that require a degree. That's all this map's really breaking down. Of course, that's gonna be like the Northeast. Yeah, literally every single data map of the U.S. looks like this. Climate change. Here's why no one's doing anything about it. Well, I mean, this is at least one factor. It now takes only 18 days to ship something from China to France versus 30 days before when it would go through the Suez. And to top it all off, this was the more expensive route too. I'm thinking that's because the Suez charges a fee to cross it. Ain't no fees being charged here by the dying polar bears in the Arctic Circle. No, but this was what they were always talking about. Oh, climate change is gonna be fine. At least we're gonna have new northern shipping routes. Woo! And a big country this is going to help is Russia. Russia loves nothing more than... I wouldn't be surprised if Russia's just literally trying to burn those ice caps up there even faster. They don't give a frick. Their country's going to become so much more powerful if all of this stuff isn't completely frozen up here. Their #1 military goal for like centuries now has just been to find a warm water port. I don't think this is necessarily going to be warm water up here, but they can make do if this is all melted. Most of their ports literally freeze over during half the year. They're loving this warming up climate. And let's be real, it's not just China that's going to benefit, or Russia. It's going to be South Korea, it's going to be Japan, it's going to be Canada, it's going to be the USA. The vast majority of countries lie above the equator. If we're going to be able to put things on a boat and it can just go over the North Pole, that's going to be way better than going all the way down here, whether it be through the Suez Canal or in America, the Panama Canal. Here's the thing too with all this stuff happening. This is going to completely flip the world upside down. I mentioned Egypt and Panama, but there's so many more countries that have a lot to lose if we're now just shipping things, or at least even if it's just like 25% or 50% of shipping traffic goes to the North Pole instead. We could see Mediterranean ports get devastated. All of Singapore, the Strait of Malacca, everything in the Indian Ocean will see just significantly less traffic. And so many of these countries' economies completely rely on this stuff. There's the other side of the coin where it will also very much hurt piracy in Somalia because there's just going to be less traffic going through there. Yeah, the battle is a geopolitical one. There's going to be much less goods through the Straits of Malacca and the Suez. Feels like it's going to start a war. This is just a seasonal route for now. I guess you can't do it for half the year, but keywords are for now. It might, there might be more to melt, which there will be more melting up there, so maybe it'll be year-round. Please tell me stuff will at least get cheaper. This is starting to feel like a great pastime for me. I love criticizing the tourism logos of other countries, especially because the tourism sector in Europe is so crucial for a lot of these places. For France to be the #1 tourist hotspot, technically it is, it's like the most visited country. Explore France, that's all you got? You didn't come up with something a little bit cooler? Why is there a French flag over here? Oh, is that a part of the logo too? Explore France, so lazy. I like the inclusion of the Swiss flag in Switzerland though. Visit Monaco, I guess I'm fine with that for the city state of Monaco. Andorra though, that kind of looks ugly if I'm being honest. This feels like a 90s kids commercial for a cartoon or something, or like the production studio that made the animation. I'll still take that in España over whatever they got in Portugal. This is funny because I feel like I always do these like tourism logo reviews, and that's because these tourism logos are always being updated. NL for Netherlands, I feel like you need to be a little bit more, I don't know. I wouldn't know that I'm in the Netherlands if I just saw a giant orange N and L. Can you at least put like some leaf plants next to it? Visit England. Okay, Wales, big credit for, that's tight. They don't even say visit Wales. They're just like dragon. I like the design for the little clover here in Tourism Ireland. Scotland, that seems lazy. Also, Scotland, this isn't even your national colors. I mean, your flag is like blue and white. Why did you choose purple? Bro, the most basic, boring font. Visit Norway. Again, I like personally when they include their flags. Sweden has a little drawn-on flag. Denmark Denmark has a little flag. They have a little heart on it. Okay, creative. But Finland, bro. Did you get like a 3-year-old to draw what seems to be 2 circles that's not very circular? And of course, Estonia just wants to be just like Finland, so they went with something even boringer. Latvia, travel. I guess that's fine. Lithuanian, travel. Simply inspiring. You know, you've done a lot of inspiring over the years, Germany. I don't think you should be inspiring anyone else anymore. Any of your Austrian politicians over there. Polska. I like this, Poland. I have a soft spot for Poland. Kind of love Poland. That's cool. I might be biased. Hashtag visit Czechia. Bro, why'd you throw the hashtag on? That just feels kind of corny. Why does Belgium have oh, because Belgium has the region of Flanders and also Wallonia. They also have a specific logo for just visiting their city of Brussels. Maybe I should just shut the hell up, because at the end of the day, the countries that are clearly doing tourism right is France and Italy. Two of the most highly tourist countries. So many tourists go there every single year. So maybe this is what you do need to do. San Marino, that looks ugly. I feel like that's just a lot going on, San Marino. I feel Slovenia. This literally just looks like the NVIDIA logo. Travel to Slovakia. Good idea. They have to remind people, hey, it's a good idea to come to Slovakia. It's definitely not a bad one. Romania, natural and cultural. That's cool. I would rather have had like a vampire on it or something. I don't think so. Thanks, Ukraine. Thank you for the offer. Maybe in a couple years. There's been too many Russians trying to visit Ukraine, unfortunately. And I also don't think so for Belarus either. But that's interesting. This feels very old. This feels like early 2000s design. Greece. Again, I guess to be fair, France, Italy, and Greece, they don't gotta say much. I feel like you don't really even need a tourism logo, and there's still going to be some of the highest tourism spots. But if you really like trying, like, you got to try it. Like Bulgaria, I like this. You got to try Bulgaria. So yeah, taste, life, North Macedonia. Interesting things going out of the like former Yugoslavian states. Turkey, that's pretty cool. Turkey is a place a lot of people go. I like that for Turkey personally. There's no Russia. Well, I guess you can't really visit Russia right now, but Romania's could be on a bottle of water. Yeah, it does look like some spring water. I feel Slovenia kind of slaps, kind of a dad joke, but at least they tried. Yep, they did. I mean, Slovenia's got to try something to get people over there. Travel to Slovakia, good idea. Sounds like a threat. Yeah, am I gonna get killed in the hostel? Belgium not beating the disunity accusations here. Oh, was there a tulip the whole time? Maybe I'm the dumb one. I don't really see it. Why can't I see it? Okay, well, I give you more credit because there's a tulip. That makes sense. Good job, Netherlands. Don't forget to check out makeshift.com if you want Egypt, Somalia, or Botswana. They will be gone very soon. So see ya over there. Use that link down below. Big thanks to my patrons this month. If you want your name here, check that Patreon link in the description down below. Never change Drew unless you want to. We need a Drew bobblehead figurine. Petition for Drew
Alexander
to
the
make
Terrible,
ASMR
Connor
Tingles
Pavlik,
version 2.
Frederick Tiblin,
King Bear Hayes,
Lord Track,
Luxembourg Lover,
Miglu the Goat,
Nolan, Nord Tyrol,
Tamron,
and William.